Hi everyone, so here is the launch of product for spring 2025. So let's start with new product at a glance. So there is changes in three of our collections. The first one is reception, then lounge, and to finish Axel. The very first one is a launch of the RZ4 for the reception collection. So RZ4 is making its entrance. And then for lounge, there's going to be a new chair, which is named Iris, and also a product improvement on Cyrano. So we're going to have a new footing options for our Cyrano. And for Axel, there is two launches and two product improvements. So in terms of launches, there's going to be a new door, a 90 inches high sliding door is going to be launched, and 24 inches high stacking frame as well. In terms of improvement, we're going to revise the stackable glazed panel just so we're going to be able to stack over it, and improvement about the wall connector as well. So this is the RZ4 reception that we're going to launch on March 2025. So this is a very slick and simple reception. There's going to be a lot of choice of material, from laminate to Phoenix, and metal, felt, and acrylic as well are going to be available. And new patterns on our felt will be available in this collection. And also it's a very flexible collection, so you'll be able to do a lot of composition. Picture of our RZ4 collection. So it's going to be hyper modular. It works a bit like a small system furniture. So there's a lot of flexibility. A mix of material as well. So laminate, Phoenix, felt, acrylic, and metal. It's all going to be part of this collection. It's also compatible with our height adjustable table, which make it very interesting because we have a lot of requests for height adjustable reception. And it's compatible with adjustable table, but also with pretty much all of Orthopex furniture. We see another nice picture here. Great aesthetic material combination. So what we see here is a very simple design, very slick. And the first thing that we notice is the Phoenix effect, super matte effect on the front, on the side, and on the top of the transaction module. This is a collection that is fully flexible and compatible with all our other series. So we see here an example with the pub table, which looks really nice beside the reception counter. And also I want to draw your attention to the felt on the front, this very nice texture, this pattern, which is the chevron version. So there's going to be 4 new patterns which will come with this collection. Here are now some various combinations you can do. So it's a collection that can be deployed in many ways. So the very first pictures show us the extension surface, which is compatible with a wheelchair. So a ADA version in our reception, which is something that we didn't have so far. Also, the picture that is below on the left, we see the base in Phoenix, also something we didn't suggest before. So that's a new thing in our product. So we will now have the possibility of having Phoenix for the base as well as the surface and the front. The last picture, the picture that is at the bottom right, we see the nice texture of the felt, which is the line version of patterns. So this collection is pretty easy to specify. So basically you will specify the table first. Then you can specify a transaction module. The one that we see right now is the one with a recessed visitor side. The recessed visitor side will allow you to put a tile if you want, or not if you prefer. And you can put above all of this a transaction surface. A nice rendering here, a front view and a back view as well, which shows the table. So basically there is two types of table in this collection. There is the one that is called table, literally. So that's the way it is named in the price list. And there is the one that is called reception table. So the one that is called table is meant to be used with a transaction module. So it's going to be attached to it. And the other one, the reception table, is going to be freestanding with a flush modesty on the front. First, let's talk about the transaction module from this RZ4 collection. So first, this collection will offer you to vary the effect by choosing different type of fronts for the transaction module. The very first one is the flush version, and the second one is the recessed front effect on the visitor side. This one will allow you to put a tile or not, depending on the effect you want to create. And on the user side, as you can see, the textured portion, the one with the wood grain, shows a tile. So this is really a tile, just like we have in Excel, and we can remove it if we'd like. This tile can be laminate, it can also be Phoenix, and it can be felt as well. We call it a thoughtfully designed piece of furniture because we decided to use grommet for this one. So there's going to be an option of grommets, which is going to be at left, center, or right, depending what you want to do. And the tile that is on the user side, as I said, can be removed. So you can access to your wires. So it's going to be perfect for our interlink system as an example. So it's not an electrical unit like we used to have in airline before, but it's a very basic system to manage the electricals. I'll show you a couple of pictures later just to show how to manage the electrical inside. So this slide here shows the transaction module for L-shaped configuration. So it's going to be possible to create a L-shape left-handed or right-handed. So multiple design proposal from the different possibilities. Just so you know, it's not possible to make one of those transaction module freestanding. It is 8 inches deep, so it has to be attached to something else in a L shape or in a U shape to make it freestanding. This is here the transaction module for U-shape configuration. So once again, you can create something like this, which could be great with a height adjustable table, just so it is freestanding and the table doesn't have to be attached to anything. So you can have it with a recessed front. There is no flush front for this version. And from the user side, that's what it looks like. It said here wide range of choices, so several material and finishes options. So the very first one at the left shows laminate. So it's going to be possible to have laminate on the front, on the side, for the base, and also for the tile. The second option is the same, so laminate everywhere except for the tile, which is going to be felt. And the third one is Phoenix. So it's going to be Phoenix for the front, Phoenix for the base, Phoenix for the side, and also Phoenix for the tile, sorry. And the very last one is Phoenix everywhere except for the tile. All those surfaces for any of those choices is going to be available in laminate, in HPL, or in Phoenix. A reception that can be adapted to your needs. So there's many configuration types here, from the one that is with a table attached to the module, and feel free also to have a module that is attached to the other and extend on left or on right. You could create a T configuration, a U configuration, or a L. These are the heights that are available for the transaction module. So we were used to have the 29 and the 42 version for RZ2 and RZ3. And now we're going to have in RZ4 this 35 version. It said here hyper customizable because two modules can be attached together. They can be connected with different height. So the front can be higher than the side, or the opposite. The front can be lower than the side. This is the picture I was talking about a few slides ago concerning the axle type. So as I said, it's some kind of axle tile which will be clipped into those little brackets that are attached to the transaction module. So you can remove the tile easily and access to wiring if you need to. And it's also the way you're going to install the module to each other. So if you need to attach them to each other, that's where you will proceed. So for those who are doing space planning, this is a recommendation about not to exceed 60 inches if you need to make something that is exceeding, like an L shape or a straight shape. I already said a couple slides ago that this module for your U-shape configuration is available only in a recessed version. It's because the wood grain direction is vertical for the flush version. So that's why the limit of a flush transaction module is 60 inches, which means that you cannot even ask for a special because a plank of laminate is 60 inches wide. A little bit of technical knowledge. So that's where the grommets are going to be located, left, center, or right. There is no grommet on each side, so it's perfect for a simple cable management. Also, I want to draw your attention to the holes on the side. So that's where you're going to attach the next module, the next transaction module, if you want to create a L configuration or a U configuration. So as you can see, there is no pre-drill hole above at the tile height because we want to be able to create different level. This here is a little picture just to explain maybe a little bit more how the electrical will be managed inside of these transaction module. So as I said, it's going to be possible to drop the wires into a grommet, and then you can drill a hole on each side because there is no grommets on the side of a module. So you can drill a hole, or you can decide also to drop the wire at the bottom and pass by the bottom between the levelers. That's another solution. So as you can see, there is a plank inside of the transaction module, which attach the front and the back of the module. And this plank is not full, so it doesn't go to the end on each side. So there is a gap between each side, which allow you to drop the wire inside and then be able to plug into the wall outlet. This section now is about the table and reception table. So just so you know, it's two different products. So there is one that is called table and one that is called reception table. The one that we see right now is the table. So Phenix and laminate, not only for the surface, but also for the table base. So it's going to be possible to order it all in laminate, or you can also decide to have the Phenix base. So that's something totally new for this collection. So basically we can say that it's a great flexibility in material because not only the surface, but also the table base can be in Phenix for this reception table as well. So as you can see on the visitor side, the Modesty is full height and also is flush on each side. So just like the transaction module we saw previously, those tables are available in the same height, so 35, and 42, basically the same height as the transaction module. So that's the case for table, but also for reception table. So what about the grommets? So the grommets are going to be just like the one that we have in Axle for the table module. And if you are on a reception table, then the grommet is going to be rectangular in plastic, just like we have in Takeoff. That's going to be possible to specify it at left, center, or right, just like we do usually with Takeoff. And tables that are 36 and shorter have the option of adding a center grommet only. These are the multi-outlet you can get from the price list as an option on surfaces. So those multi-outlet can be specified at left, right, or center, just like the grommets. You can get the UN, the X version, which is available in black or in white, so XB or XN. And you can also get the D, the very last one on the picture on the right, which is the W version if you wanted to have this standard plug which goes into a wall outlet. Or you can select also the Q version, which is the interlink system, the one circuit system which needs to be connected with a power supply. This is here the extension reception tables. So those are available again with the same material flexibility. So you can have the base in laminate or in Phenix, and it has a left side or a right side. Just a little bit of technical knowledge about this extension table. So it corresponds to ADA standard, which is 19 inches modesty recessed, just to be able to have a wheelchair at this place. So those comes with brackets, which will attach to a table or a reception table with LL legs. This is the height of our extension reception table, sorry. So it's 29 inches high. There's no grommet and no multi-outlet, and the modesty is full. Once again, a little bit of technical knowledge about the tables. So the reception tables are the one we see at the bottom and also the one we see at top right. You can choose for those reception table the LL configuration for the legs or LC, CL, or CC, just like in takeoff basically. And that's the same thing for the table. There's going to be a half gable with a cutout to accommodate a junction plates or cable, depending if you want to manage electrical. With legs that are LC or CC, we provide junction plates for those. Those tables are not freestanding, so it needs to be attached to another table to be freestanding. Concerning the stiffeners, this is the same rule as in takeoff, which means that as soon as you have 48 inches without supports, you need to put a stiffener. So this is about the tables here that we are looking at. So the tables are always 18 inches off the ground, the table's modesties, and it's also recessed of 5¼ inches from the edge. However, the reception table will always have a full height modesty, and it's going to be flush on each side. What we're looking at right now is the table. So not the reception table, but the table, which has a modesty that is 5¼ recessed. So this table is going to be provided with hardware, which attached to the base and also to the transaction module. These are here the different transaction surfaces we can select from. So as you can see, you have a rectangle with rounded corners, and also a racetrack shape. All of those are going to be available in laminate, in HPL, and in Phenix. And all of those can be installed on whatever transaction module. So it could be the one with flush modesty, flush front, or also the one with the recessed front. Both will work perfectly because it's screwed underneath the transaction top. These transaction surfaces are made of a laminate plank 11-16 inches high, and you have a lot of liberty in terms of location. It can be centered, just like the picture that is on the left, or also off-centered outward. If, for instance, you want to use a height adjustable table, this is the perfect concept for that type of use. And also you can decide to off-center it from the left or from the right. These are the transaction surface with fascia. So that's another type of transaction surface you can get. So once again, you can have a 11 and 16 inches thick laminate surface or a sheet of metal. It could be both options depending what you want, what effect you want. There's going to be, for both options, a 3/8 inches thick black blower included, like a spacer. There's going to be a plank of laminate, which will make this floating effect. Those could be installed on the module that has a flush front. It cannot be installed on the one that has a recessed front because it won't work. So I will show you in a couple slides why it doesn't work. But so far you know that it's gonna be for those flush front. It's available in two heights, so you have the 28 version or 14 inches high. Transaction surface with fascia in a L-shaped configuration is also something possible. So once again, it's available in laminate, but also in metal in the 34 colors. The laminate version is going to be 11 and 16 inches thick. And there's always going to be this spacer underneath, which will make this floating look. This version is, again, possible with the transaction module that has a flush front, but it's not possible on the version that has a recessed front. These are the visitor side tiles. So if you select the transaction module with a recessed front, you can feel free to provide a visitor tile just like this. So it could be acrylic, it could be felt, and both of them are going to be installed with Velcro stripes, just like this. This is here a little bit of technical knowledge, again, about this fascia style transaction top. So it has some spacers underneath, as I said at the beginning, which create this floating sensation. So that is why it's not possible to use it with a recessed front. So the front of the transaction module has to be flush. These are the options for the visitor side tiles. So as you can see, there's many patterns you can select from. The stripe, the lines, the chevrons, the leaves, and the waves are some of the possibilities. So they're all made of a felt tile, which is 3/8 inches. And it's also available in the 4 colors that you are used to specify. It's still possible to have no patterns. You will just specify TX0. And if you want to have these little nice patterns, you will have to specify the code that is the proper one. These are here the iris seating. Those are all rounded shape, very cozy, very comfy. It's available in an angled shape, but also in a straight one. I want to draw your attention to the way the seams are done. They're very well done, so it's a very nice product. Also, the poof are available, and also the Ottoman version. Again, a rounded shape, generous backrest because it's pretty high, and it's less inclined than the Crema Dolce lounge that we launched next time. So it's a little bit more straight, but still comfortable. And the goal is to be flexible. So it's not that heavy. It's pretty easy to move in the space, so you'll be able to place it the way you want. They have a very low profile black plastic or wooden footing. Maybe you prefer the wooden footing for a residential feel. It said here a deliberately simple design because we want it to be easy to integrate. There's going to be one fabric, and there's two versions, as you can see in the picture. The one that is in the center is the angled version, and the one that is on the left is the straight version. So with the one that is angled, you're going to be able to make a perfect circle. Here it said make the most of every space because this collection is very compact. So as you can see here, the dimensions are pretty small. Even the ottoman and the poof, they're really cute and small, so it fits most of the space. Something practical here, if you need to attach the seat to each other, there is a junction clip that you can buy separately. The design of the product is meant to be flexible, so it's not meant to use any junction clip, but if you need to attach them, there's going to be some in the price list. You probably recognize our Cyrano seating here with its new footing option. So we were used to see this angled leg in chrome. So this is still going to be available, but there will also be a new option available for the Cyrano. It's the same footing as we have in Quadro, so the one that we see on the picture. This footing is available in the 34 color, which is a good news. And that's also the same footing as the Axel Lounge version. This is Axel. So again, what is new in Axel is the sliding door, the one that is 19 inches high. So we used to have the one that was 54 and the one that was 66. So it doesn't change. I mean, it's still going to be available in the 34 color of metal. The interior is a clear or a frosted acrylic, depending on what you want. And so we can now improve the privacy and have some doors into a pavilion. A little bit of technical knowledge about those doors. So just like before, when we were using the 54 and the 66 version, we needed to have a door that is 6 inches larger than the opening. With the 90 inches high, we will have to put a portal behind it because we want it to be solid and not wobbly. So we will add this portal behind it to make sure it is sturdy. Also, this was something you probably know as well, but just a reminder, you can select the sliding guide, depending on the width of the frame that is beside. So you can select from 24 to 60, depending on the frame that is beside. We did a little change recently on our guide for the sliding door. So since those glazed over panel are not equipped with hooks with slotted uprights, we decided to have a punch out on those hooks just so you can remove it with a cutter on site. So if you need to attach it to a glazed stackable frame, it's going to be possible by removing those little punch out. Also, another thing that you need to remember is that a sliding door cannot be installed on a panel with an open base. Just like you see on the picture, the second picture, an open base is not compatible with a sliding door. It is also not recommended to install a hutch on the back of the panel which holds the door, so it's going to be too wobbly. As I said previously, we recommend to use the portal behind the sliding door just so it holds the panel together and it makes the structure sturdy. However, you can also decide to go with a crossbeam, but you will have to specify the bracket ALPAVCB. Those little brackets are L brackets, which is going to be screwed to the crossbeam and to the panel. And this is going to make the panel very sturdy. Feel free to do a configuration just like we see on the left, so you can have two sliding door sliding in the same direction. If you put a portal behind it, it's perfect. However, if you want to use the crossbeam option, it won't be possible because the panel has a thickness, which is 3 inches. So when you close the door, there will be a gap of 3 inches. So we don't recommend that kind of layout. Once again, the first option that is on the left is recommended. So you put a portal behind the sliding door and that works just fine. However, the second option here, sliding door with a crossbeam, doesn't work well because once again, there is a thickness of 3 inches. So there's going to be a gap at the end. So we don't suggest this kind of configuration. This is a brand new stackable frame that we introduced in Axel. This is a frame 24 inches high. The aim is to avoid using two overlapping 12 inches frame to reach, for instance, the height of 90 inches high. And also it's going to be easier for the installation. So that's the two goal. And you're also going to be able to reach a dimension of 72 and 84 height as well. Just some reminder about those frame. Those are black painted, those are in steel, and it can be installed on the base or over a stackable glazed over panel. So it's also going to be provided with all the hardware. It is not recommended to stack more than 2 frames over of each other, just like it was before. That's the same rule. And we will also not go higher than 90 inches high. So these are the cost reduction in addition to fast and easy installation. So as you can see, there is a small reduction of the price. So that's going to be nice for your project. So for instance, on a 60 inches high panel, it's going to be 320 instead of 404 with two stackable glazed, not glazed, but two stackable frame on top of each other. For those who are doing drawing with either Cap Complete or with Giza, just so you know, it's not going to be possible to use the auto hardware when you are doing a 72 inches high or a 84 inches high, because those heights were not something we could do in the past. So we are currently discussing with Syncly and 2020, just so you'll be able to use the auto hardware for those composition. But so far, you'll have to do it manually. Again, some technical knowledge about those frame. So if you are specifying frame, now that it's going to be possible to stack it over a glazed over panel, then we're going to have to specify the corresponding option according to application. So you will specify BTOF option if you install the frame, the over frame, over a regular frame, a base frame. And if you install it over a glazed over panel, then it's going to be the option BTOG. Because we introduced those 24 inches high frame stackable, we also have to introduce stackable connector just to be consistent. So we're going to use to add some 24 inches high S over connector, some X over connector, and 24 inches high Y over connector as well. This is here a very nice picture of our improved stackable glaze panel. So we are very happy and very proud to let you know that it's now possible to install them on each other, on top of each other. So it's going to be possible to have more freedom in creativity and more natural light, of course. Some reminder about those glazed stacking panel. Those are made with a metal frame. So they're going to be available in the 34 metal color. It's available in frosted or clear acrylic from the inside. It's going to be installed over a stackable glaze panel, but also on a base frame. All the mounting hardware are going to be included. And just a reminder, the trims and connectors must be ordered separately. So you're going to be able to increase natural light without compromising privacy. Just so you know, for those who add a stackable glazed panel like this as an existing, it's not going to be possible to add one more and stack it over it. You're going to have to change the existing as well. So you're going to have to order 2 of those. So because those glazed over panel can now be installed on top of each other, you will need to specify a new option. So if you install it on top of a frame, you'll need to specify BTOG option. And if you install it over a glazed panel, you will need to specify NBT option. Once again, a little bit of technical reminders for those who are doing drawing and specification. So concerning the off module connector, we already knew that we cannot fix it to a glazed stackable panel. So it needs to be connected to the base frame. So make sure that it's attached to a base frame because it's not going to be compatible with your glazed stackable panel. Also, still concerning the glazed stackable panel, it has no racks. It has no slotted uprights. So if you want to specify a lateral panel attached to it, you'll need to specify also this bracket that we see here, the APL-AOG, because this fasteners will replace the current fasteners. So you will have to remove the one with hooks that goes into the racks and use this one instead and attach it to your glazed over panel. So this little bracket is sold separately in the price list. Last thing is about the lateral panel that are end lateral panel or shared lateral panel. So those 2 things are not going to be attached to a glazed stackable panel. That was already the case, but that's just a reminder so you know that it won't be attached to a glazed over panel. If you need to, there's going to be some new tile stop also available in the price list, sold separately if required. So those are to make the surface more rigid, for instance, for writing or for pinning. Basically, if you plan to use your felt, acoustic and pinnable fabric or acrylic tile for writing or for pinning, I recommend you to add some more tile stop that we just saw previously, just to make sure that the tile will be sturdy enough and solid enough. So we recommend to put a tile stop at every 12 inches between the stops. I recommend you to refer to the quantity already included with the tiles. You will see it in the product guide. So go into the tile section and see how many of those tile stops are going to be included, and make sure that you have one at every 12 inches. If that's not the case, then you can order the ones that are missing. This is still about those tile stop to add just to stiffen the tile. So if you have that kind of situation with a glazed stackable panel over a base frame, you'll probably need to add some more tile stop. So make sure that you have a tile stop at every 12 inches between every stop. And once again, refer to the quantity in the product guide. This is now our improved wall connector. So basically it's the same product. The only difference is that now we're going to have an option of a bracket. So it's now possible to stack 2 glazed over panel on top of each other. And if we want to do so, we will need to be able to attach the stackable glazed panel to this bracket just so it doesn't move, because we cannot attach the glazed over panel to the wall connector. So this little bracket will do the job. For those who are doing drawing, I just wanted to add that Panel Builder and Frame Designer won't be updated for March 17, sorry. So before we decided not to be able to do two glazed over panel on top of each other because it was not something possible. But now that it's possible, there's the 2020 won't allow you to do so. So I recommend you to do it manually. So first you will put your base frame and then you will put your first glazed over panel. But don't put the second one and don't put also the top cap. You will do it manually afterward. So this is still about this little bracket option that is going to be added to the wall connector. So that's going to be the case of our wall connector, but also to our stackable wall connector. So a reinforcement must be specified now when the connector is installed against a glazed over panel. So you will select OF if you need to install it on a frame, and you will select OGW if you want to install it onto a stackable glazed panel. So all of this, all we mentioned during this presentation is going to be activated on March 17th, on Monday, March 17th. So the website is going to be updated and you will be able to get your brochure, your price list, and all your guides. There's also going to be a communication, which will be done in the newsletter and also on social network. And concerning Giza, CAP, and Project Matrix, it's not going to be ready on the 17th, but a couple of days after, so it shouldn't be that long. So thank you very much for being here. As always, it's always appreciated to have you with us and for your confidence in ArtOpEx. Thank you.